Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. We are going to roll through our sports entertainment version. It will be Justin and KP talking here. We start the week out with Raw. We have Samoa Joe, Tom Phillips, and Byron Saxton on commentary. They start out with highlights of the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then Becky comes out. Becky winds up giving a promo where she seems distraught about having to give up her belt. And then Asuka comes out and she says, your match. I don't think she says originally that she's giving out the belt. She just says she's got an announcement.
Yeah, your match is way, first Asuka's like, why you even got it? Why you got my belt? Why you got my briefcase here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
like,
then she's like, your match last night was for way more than the Money in the Bank. It was for the belt.
Well, she said that kind of at the beginning too. She said this. I went to the WWZ executives and now that match was way more important than anybody knew it was, or something like that. Yeah,
correct. And then she winds up telling Asuka to go on and continue to be a warrior because she is going to be a mother. And Asuka has the genuine reaction of mommy after she had celebrated earlier about the belt itself.
Yeah.
And I think any person was happy in the moment.
Yeah, it's a
and
fun
all that.
moment.
It was good.
What's wrong with that?
It was good. Everyone in the locker room comes out to hug her when she goes backstage, except for Seth, who we don't see, which is significant in that we know he is the father. But Seth is going to stay.
Do we? No.
But Seth will be staying in character.
Yes.
This entire episode. I think he finally tweeted something out Thursday or Friday where he had taken a picture of her holding the plus.
Yeah, I saw that. That was sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Alberto Carrillo versus Bobby Lashley. We wind up with a good little match. Bobby puts him in the full Nelson or Master Lock, which if you're old enough, you remember there was a man, Chris Masters, who did the Master Lock, and Bobby Lashley was the first one to break said hold.
Yes, so good call.
Yeah, it was a cool little callback thing. It seems like Lashley's going to wind up with MVP.
I like it.
I like it. Yeah,
I like it. It's good for both of them. MVP needs somebody to go, and Lashley needs somebody to talk for him.
Right, and I like watching Alberto wrestle. He's good. Angel Garza versus Akira Tozawa. Garza's strong early. And I love the little tree of woe penalty kick they did.
Oh, yeah.
Garza hits his finish
Wing clipper.
and argues with Theory after the win.
Yeah.
So it feels like dissent in the Union, which
I can
as badly as they've done, right? You can see where they'd be upset with each other.
Yes.
You've been frustrated with the way this whole thing's been booked.
Well, yeah. At least they're keeping it consistent. At least they're not still sitting around going, like, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread when you're getting smoked every week by a dude.
Well, and that's what they should be doing, right?
Exactly. No, I agree with that.
And if this dissent either winds up being them coming together, breaking up, or bringing in somebody else, anything would make sense other than to continue to act like you're doing well when you're not. Right.
Yeah.
Drew versus Andrade.
Those two can't get in the ring with each other and not put on a good match, hardly.
Andrade took a beating in this thing, and he looked formidable while getting hit with that Claymore, and Drew has, at this point, he's been a fighting champion, and everybody he's gotten in there with, he pretty much has gotten in there with Andrade and Seth, though.
Yes.
Which is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, but he's been able to showcase more than... They're not presenting him to you as Braun.
No.
You know what I mean? Who has a limited skill set. You know what I mean? Drew is being allowed to show you why he's so special as an athlete.
He's dominant, but he's dominant in a skillful and powerful fashion. He's not just running around the ring hitting people.
Right, and so now he's beaten Brock, Big Show, Andrade a couple of times, maybe Garza or somebody. I remember he beat somebody else up in that clique. He's beaten them all three at one time, a couple times. He's beaten Buddy, and he got to showcase a lot of different things with Buddy, and he's beaten Andrade again. So we're getting...
And Seth. You keep trying to avoid he's beating Seth.
Oh, I thought you said it, so I didn't have to say it.
No, you just didn't want to say it.
Okay, well, he's
your
beaten,
boy losing.
He's beaten Seth, and he
No,
has
I'm kidding.
put Seth into quite the doldrums.
Yes, his hair looked terrible.
Correct. That's how you know in wrestling. That's how you know that when they don't have conditioner, when their hair's not wet and full of conditioner, you know that they're distraught. Because that's the first thing you do if you're a wrestler.
Oh yeah.
Pre-stretch.
You lose your appearance. You lose your self-care ability.
Yes. Drew winds up giving a promo. Seth brought it last night. Then he mentions a brand-to-brand invitation and death, taxes, and everyone hates this guy.
Yes.
Baron Corbin is coming next week. That's right. The King will be bringing the pain.
Yeah.
We mentioned Andrade, Buddy Murphy,
Yes.
Seth Rollins,
Yes.
and now skip over Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. Just leave that loser in the dust.
Go straight to Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin
If you'll see wrestling,
at its finest.
let's bring in Baron.
Grappling.
Grappling.
Like-
Catch as catch can.
Like ancient Greek Pancrase reincarnated.
Woo! Okay, and so we're getting that next week. MVP and Lashley wind up doing a little segment here. Why MVP asked the question which we are asking every week with Lashley. Why are you wrestling Humberto Carrillo? And it's not anything against Humberto, but Lashley should not be involved in mid-card wrestling things.
Yeah, you gotta look at that dude, man. He is not just big. He's not just fast. He's freakishly both.
Right.
That dude is every bit as dangerous as Brock Lesnar. You know, I don't understand why the completely
At
different.
least to the eye.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, and martial arts and wrestling, dude. He's a legit NCAA heavyweight championship wrestler like Brock Lesnar. He's an MMA fighter. Like, he didn't fight the competition Brock fought. You know,
Right.
I would say Brock is, if I had to put him in the ring together, I'd put money on Brock. But I would say that that's close enough that I could see it going either way.
Right.
You know, and I don't understand. That makes him slightly less dangerous than the most dangerous man who's ever been in the ring in wrestling.
Right. And he mentions the last time you wrestled for any title in this company was 2007.
Wow.
That's what MVP told him. I don't know if it's true or not, but
That's
he was
a point,
allowed to
isn't it?
say it on television.
Yeah.
And then he moves off. He tells Lana, if your boy ever needs any help, just send him my way, which makes her scream, which is her scream is terrible. It is Vicky Guerrero-ish. I won't say Guerrero-ish, but I'm afraid you would associate with Eddie, which is not where I was going.
No, it's Vicky-ish.
And understand too, I don't dislike Vicky Guerrero.
Vicky Guerrero is one of the greatest heels in the history of wrestling, and I will go with that.
And I don't mind Lana stomping her feet and screaming.
No.
Who knows where this goes? I wouldn't mind a calm, cool MVP counteracting her losing control of herself and her husband and her client all at one time.
Yes.
If we're going to do a television show, all that.
He's the agent.
Yeah.
He's Jeremy Piven, man. He's
Jeremy Piven.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Moment of Bliss. The Iconics
making a return.
make a return. Thank you. I love the Iconics. They want a shot at the titles. Non-title matches happening. The Iconics look like they looked good in the ring. And they don't always look good in the ring. You know what I mean? But it looks like, you're right, maybe a little rusty, but...
I mean, they didn't look too rusty to me. That's what I was saying. Maybe a little, but not much.
Right, but it did look like they have been practicing. And you could tell... I think Peyton Royce dates Sean Spears, who owns a wrestling school with Prince Pretty, right?
Yes.
So I would assume if she's just laying around the house,
she can go over there.
There's wrestling going on, and she can
work.
work. Yeah. So and she's actually always been a little better wrestler than her partner anyway.
A little bit.
But her partner is the goods when it comes to making me laugh. Anyway, they hit a throat punch, which I felt like was unique. Well done. They wind up winning, and we're probably going to get some form of a program here, and I'm all for it. I'd like the Iconics to go over. I would like them to get back into... Give me more than 1, 2, female wrestling teams if you're going to have a division.
Yes.
You've allocated that we're doing this over 3 shows. There's no reason why I can't have 5 teams, 6 teams.
There's no reason why you can't have... Dude.
If you only had a champ and a team on each show, that's 4.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that hard to give me a tag team division when I'm allowed to use the whole thing.
It just doesn't make any sense that they have so many wrestlers and they can't get,
Right. Okay. Let's move on though. R-Truth, Cedric Alexander, Ricochet versus Thorne, Vic, and MVP. This was a lot.
It was... I don't know what the point of any of this is at times. All right, so Ricochet and Cedric Alexander go on a little bit of run. Vink and what's his name, Shane Thorne take him down. So I was like, oh, that's annoying because I heard Vink was all high up, everybody McMahon was all hot on that kid, and then next week you kill him for a truth gag, pretty much.
Well, he pinned MVP. Our truth gag turns into the pinning of MVP, which turns into Lashley.
Which means I just use my tag teams for something completely outside of the tag team division to set up an angle.
You actually, 2 segments earlier, you had Lashley, Ilana, and MVP, and so you go back to that here, and you utilized Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, Thorne, and Vic, which you're saying is not really utilizing.
That's not. That's just you. They're just window dressing for the whole point of this.
And I love R-Truth, but I wasn't into the Pretty Ricky thing where he kept putting teeth in his mouth, taking them out. That I didn't get that at all. But just some comedy works for me and some doesn't. That didn't do it. But anyway, I do believe that we are going to get more Ricochet, Alexander, Thorne. They're going to be fighting each other until something happens with the Street Profits end.
Well, that's the WWE move. We'll just have these guys wrestle in 18 varieties of the same thing until everybody hates watching it, and then we'll bury them both or something. I don't know.
Well, we'll
have Drew McIntyre come in and fight him in a 3-way match, and it will be Drew versus the other 2 teams, both in the ring at the same time. Drew McIntyre wins.
And you do have, if Garza and... You could also tell the story of Garza and...
Theory
being angry with one another in the tag division. Mm-hmm. They're in a faction together, so they don't have to be a tag team to be a tag team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
You could totally use that, and give us at least something else. Okay, Rey Mysterio tries to congratulate Seth, and Seth, as we mentioned earlier, looks crazy. He has no conditioner. He didn't bring it because he's... But as I said earlier in the week on Twitter, look, fatherhood's weird on everybody. And finding out that you're going to be a dad can make you crazy.
Yeah. It makes me gouge people's eyes out.
Seems that Seth had better get his wits about him because... It's not going to get easier.
No. No.
The easy part is, especially if you're rich, which as Seth has said to his chagrin, on social media he is. That finding out your significant other is pregnant is a good thing.
Yeah.
The bad thing would be diapers.
Yes.
And all that, right?
All that.
Right. Now,
and here's the thing. Are we assuming that this is the fatherhood or the losing to Drew McIntyre?
Oh, I'm assuming it's...
Losing to Drew McIntyre?
The fatherhood, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's absolutely not the fatherhood. Can I address the Cornette thing real quick?
Sure. Bring up old Jim.
Okay.
What horror... Oh, yeah, I read that. Yeah, what ridiculous... make people angry thing did Jim Cornette say to get everybody to talk about him?
I do think it was so caveman-ish. I do believe it's somewhat of a work.
Parody!
Right. Saying, I can't believe... I think there was a little bit of it to it.
Does Cornette have kids? I don't know anything about Jim Cornette.
I don't either. I've never seen him with a woman.
I haven't either.
In the house that I saw him walking around in on Dark... I can't imagine a woman living there.
It was like every wrestling thing he ever had is everywhere.
Like his entire attic was wall-to-wall wrestling magazines.
Uh-huh.
Like every wrestling magazine that's ever been put out.
Yeah, so I'm betting Jim's never been in this position before.
I don't know. It's entirely possible that he does have a happily
dozens of kids.
Right, but
all I know.
don't have any evidence of that.
No.
Now, I do think that Jim loves the business in a way where, and he thinks of the business in a way where if someone that was his talent came to him and said she was the hottest thing in the company and said to him, "Hey, I got to go away for a while, I'm pregnant," he would have said, "Why would you do this now when the iron's hot?"
Yeah.
Which was what he was saying. What he's saying is the iron's hot.
Yeah, why?
What are you doing? Why not? Why didn't you guys just wait a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which these things don't happen. Life doesn't happen like that.
No,
especially not once you've decided you're going to be married and all that, right? You don't worry about that as much anymore.
No.
But I think one is he's saying, you're making $1 million a year right now. You can't do that forever.
Yeah.
No. But I think one thing a lot of people that are worried about Becky the character are missing is the iron was still hot with Becky, but not like it was.
No.
She's starting to get to a point where people were kind of rolling their eyes.
This was actually a good moment for her.
It's getting harder and harder for her to make every rivalry feel. She's doing it. She's incredibly creative. She's able to do these things. She's made every rivalry look good to this point. Okay, where do we go after Shayna if we don't go back to Shayna?
Yeah, because you've once again WG painted themselves in a corner. You had Becky Lynch beat the girl who just destroyed your whole women's division for a month, like in several matches where she just demolished everybody in the middle. She beats her in 7 minutes. Where do you go?
Yeah, you can't stick Asuka in there with her.
Unless
you were to lose a match. So, in a way, this is good timing for Becky to step away. How many times do you see an athlete get an injury?
Yes.
Go away, come back.
Hotter than ever.
They're always hotter than ever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Becky Lynch, if she... Now, who knows? She may decide I don't want
to go back to
spend the first year of my child's life
on the road.
I get that. Okay, if that's what she wants, that's up to her. If she wants to come back and work and take the 3 days off wherever they decide they want to live, and both of them go back and do that, that can be done. And the minute she wants to walk back in, she's the most hot. She's going to be the hottest thing in wrestling. The day she comes back, no matter what day that is.
Yes.
And the pop's going to be absolutely crazy. And it's not like they don't got money.
No, they're fine.
Now, can you ever get back $1 million if you take a year off? No. But the character itself,
yes,
could really... she's not going away for an injury. She's having a baby. Dude, the way people are going to mark out for her when she comes back
come on.
is going to be crazy.
It's going to be epic.
I think she's in a good spot. And congratulations. She's in a good spot professionally, but even more importantly, personally, she's in a great spot.
And her and Steph seem like they're, really having...
Right now, everything you read from them or about them or anything is almost mushy.
Yeah.
Which and Seth is not a mushy person. So there is
Seth is the ultimate mushy person because Seth pretends he's not a mushy person. I mean, Seth.
He protests too much.
Yeah, I'm the hardcore atheist, CrossFit. I'm all about results and productivity and yeah, that dude. Nobody's more cynical than a romantic.
Yeah. Nobody's more cynical than a romantic. There you go. Baszler says, fact, 10 out of 10 moms thinks kids ruin their career.
Shayna Baszler.
She killed it.
She
killed it, dude.
I am a heel.
Somebody was backstage. It might have been D'Lo. One of the trainers was backstage and said nobody knew nobody backstage knew for sure what the announcement was. Like, there were rumors on the internet or whatever, but the only thing they knew for sure was that. And Becky had put out this picture of a negative result, right? So to try to squash that a little bit on the way in the door. and he said that all the people backstage went and he named them, and then he said, I won't name the other one because it might ruin her character.
Uh-huh.
Even Shayna was marking out.
Oh, you know,
but they put a
Shayna
mic
Baszler,
on her and she killed it.
Shayna Baszler, if you go watch her and when she's not in character, she's one of the nicest human beings on the planet. She's a really nice person. And yeah, but she really killed it, dude.
Imagine the man barefoot on the couch eating bonbons. That kid's gonna suck. You know who the father is. I rest my case. Bang!
She just killed them both. That's what Seth was all broke up about. Shayna Baszler crushed him, man.
Owned him on the mic. Oh my
Owned
God! And he can't do anything about it because she would whip his butt.
He would not stand a chance.
Right. Okay. The Taker segment. They showed us they setting up the acclaimed series that they're doing right now, and they showed that Goldberg spot.
Oh God.
Oh my God! And then you see Taker like looking at the camera. What happened to me? And it's like, yeah, dude, I get it, bro. I was wondering the same thing,
dude. I'm glad he's honest about it, though, dude. That's the amazing thing. He's just so brutally honest.
When they show drilling into his hip,
oh,
nothing
ow.
is nastier than, like, the only time I can think of that I've seen footage of a surgery that didn't bother me was my own.
Yeah.
Like when they showed, what they did to my shoulder or other.
Oh, sympathetic pain's way
I've had
worse.
several operations, oddly enough, for somebody that's not athletic. But anyway, but when I see other people's, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black versus Seth and Buddy, and Seth looks crazy, and he is on the brink of tears and distraught, and he won't tag himself in, and Buddy kills it.
Buddy
for 2 segments.
Killing it, dude.
Yes, begging Seth to come in and help. He's what a great sidekick Buddy is. What a wingman. Get back in there, Buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
And he takes it's 2-on-1 match the whole time until Ray accidentally hits Seth, and Seth goes crazy. And they
catches him in a 619 and just slams him into the barricade, dude.
Yes, yeah, he does. He slams his barricade. He does that. And now Vince has the match stopped, and I did not know this. Like, I'm like, what on earth are they doing stopping the match? But somebody said that it has always been a rule of Vince's that the guy outside of the ring, the illegal man, cannot interfere with the legal man.
I'd never noticed this before. It's weird. I read that listened to a whole I think I might have heard Jim Cornette talk about it, go through it or something like that. That's one of Vince's weird little, not having people sneeze around him.
So unbeknownst to me, true to form, they threw the match out. Seth and him lost. But Seth goes crazy and thumbs the eye, and then eventually punches the eye, and then he puts the eye of Rey Mysterio into the corner of the steps,
while screaming, "It's not your fault, Ray.
It's not your fault, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
It's not."
What?
Because we know Ray's not the father.
No.
Because
we've already had that. Who's your pappy, man?
We already know Eddie's the father of his children, so we don't have to worry about that.
That was just it was funny.
Oh my gosh, it was a lot. And then he goes back to his catatonic state, and as Ray is receiving medical attention, Seth has snapped out of it and is sorry, and he says, I'm not sure what happened out there, and looks at Aleister and says, I'm not sure what has happened out there. And Seth almost has the look on his face of, you understand, don't you, Aleister? Like, you feel sorry for me, right?
You're looking at the wrong dude.
Which he does not.
No, you're looking at the wrong dude.
And so Aleister and Buddy wind up
scrapping around
as Seth walks off to continue his apology to Sting for breaking his neck.
Oh, wait. Or
to Ray for injury.
Gotcha. Not to Finn Balor for breaking his shoulder.
That was Finn's fault.
After he won the Universal belt.
Finn literally turned his hips into the barricade.
Yes.
Seth threw him like this. I'm doing my hands forward in a same style, like they're both moving at the same time. He's floating through the air with his back. like in the proper trajectory, and for whatever reason decided to turn his shoulders toward the barricade. Watch it sometime.
Yeah. I saw Seth use the Force.
He used the force. He used the force to turn his shoulders.
Midair.
Y'all don't get mad at me. Just watch that again and tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if, for whatever reason, Finn didn't turn his hips, his shoulders towards the barricade, which is why he got hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But maybe,
Totally not, because Seth Rollins threw him like 6 feet into a barricade.
well, if he would have just kept flying in the same direction.
That was a lot further than I think it was supposed to be. Finn got a little worried when he was in the air for
there's
3
legitimacy
seconds.
there. That may be true. He thought, he's going through the air and he's thinking 1, 2, hit. Oh, I haven't hit.
3, I haven't hit.
4, I haven't hit. Turn. Oh, where is the barricade?
There's the barricade.
He probably was wondering if there was a barricade.
Yeah.
Like if he was fixing to hit ground or whatever. Yeah, you're probably right on that. So that was Sting's fault.
Yes, definitely. I blame. You can get away with blaming Sting with me.
Okay. The basketball challenge is next.
Oh,
of course
Lord.
it is.
That happened.
Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders, and they lose 74-2 until the Viking Raiders show that they have been sandbagging this whole time.
And go full Harlem Globetrotters on them.
And they are actually related to Larry Bird.
Yes.
And I didn't like the segment until
the flip switch.
And then I don't know that I liked it, but
it was at least funny.
Right, and then but again, you've never really beaten them at anything.
Yes.
You made fun of them and they beat you in wrestling, and then you beat them in basketball, make fun of them, but turns out,
yeah,
I guess you're telling that story, whatever.
It's like what color do the Vikings Raiders wear a lot of times? Purple. It's like when you play basketball with Prince. You better watch out.
Mm-hmm.
Might be sandbagging you.
He might be sandbagging you in heels. Natty and Baszler, that is a skit, folks. You should watch that. And I've also heard that he was like on the JV Prince was on the JV basketball team.
Yeah, I already swear. Right. Well, if you watch the man dance, you know his footwork's good.
Correct. Natty and Dave Chappelle show.
Dave Chappelle shows that.
Google Dave Chappelle show Prince and you'll laugh for the next 10 to 12 minutes. Natty and Baszler are backstage, and like we said, when we said Baszler was killing it, we were not wrong. What do you know about motherhood? We all know the Hart Dynasty dies with you.
Wow. Wow. She just took the steak out and put it in her heart. Like on national television. You had to clear that with Natty before you did it. I don't even know if I could say it after I cleared it.
And immediately, Natty hair lost all its conditioner.
Oh, dude, it's like...
Because she is now in the same catatonic state as Seth was. Oh my Lord. So anyway, they wind up with a match, and it's great. And Natty got all the pro wrestling moves in until Shayna's overconfidence goes away, and then she does what she does and puts her away.
Yeah, slaughtered her.
Right. King Corbin interview. All hail the king. He's coming.
Super excited about hearing.
He does specify, although we have seen Ray and Aleister Black on this episode, he did want to clarify that there was a roof below, 6 feet below the roof, which Ray had told us about earlier. They explained to us twice that they weren't really dead.
Yes.
Which I appreciated that.
Yeah, because I was worried about Aleister. I saw him earlier. But could that have been, could he just not know he's dead yet? He might find out later tonight.
Just because it was a 6 feet fall doesn't mean he didn't die.
Oh, that could have killed you anyway. I'd probably
if he'd hit the wrong way or whatever. Yeah. So
Baron Corbin threw me off anything, I'd probably die.
Yes, and Corbin did not I want to point out though, Corbin did not mention that he knew there was a roof.
No, he did not.
He absolutely may have attempted to kill them.
Yes.
Luckily,
there was a roof.
And
yeah, he also didn't mention that Asuka slapped him around for trying to steal her belt.
Right, he is 100% sure he would have won that belt wrestling with AJ over it. Yet Asuka had no trouble getting rid of him.
Yes, she totally took him out.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't. If AJ and Asuka are in a fight, it's 65-35 55-45.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who wins.
Yes.
Woo! Man, okay, so then we move on to Randy Orton and Edge. Randy goes a weird route here because you beat me up, but you're not a better wrestler. And it was almost as if I felt like Randy did a good job of creating something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And also, to some degree, isn't the undercurrent, you kind of had more to fight for here than I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were in a brawl, and I wasn't really mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I just wanted to beat you up because I'm a horrible human being.
Right. Whereas you were fighting for your life and fighting for your dignity and fighting for your family,
Mm-hmm.
and I had done these things to Beth. And okay, so he did manage to intrigue me when he mentioned we were going to do a wrestling match next.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that because that makes me think that the wrestling match will be fine.
Oh, yeah.
But that means at SummerSlam we're getting something special.
Yes.
Because it's going to be the whole Hunter Hearst Helmsley, I know you beat me twice, but you haven't been through me yet.
Yeah.
Which means you've got to fight me in a cell, which could be a Hell in a Cell match,
Yeah.
or we could get something. We're going to get something special after this.
Yeah.
And
Well, you don't think they'll do... Randy might go over this next time.
I think Randy has to go over it.
Yeah, you have to keep it even.
He has to win the wrestling match to turn it into we've got one more thing to do with one another.
Yes.
And that's going to be fun. And I did kind of giggle just a little bit when, was it Renee or Kayla? Or it was Charlie that was doing the interview, and Charlie blurts out, "This is going to be one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time." No, it's not.
No.
Randy's really good.
Uh-huh.
No.
No.
Edge is pretty good. No. It's not going to be one of the greatest wrestling matches. You could say it could be a very hotly anticipated wrestling match.
Yes.
It will not be the greatest wrestling match of all time. But it could lead us to something great at SummerSlam.
Oh,
so I'm
yes.
excited about it. Raw was fine. You liked it?
I did. I
Okay.
did. Didn't have any problems.
Let's go to NXT. We have Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher versus Fabian Eichner and Marcel Barthel. Bartel, sorry. Thatcher and Bartel do well. Then Riddle's not
Dude,
on the apron.
I loved this.
Go ahead, talk about this match.
Dude,
You like it?
the grappling work, the transitions, everything about this match was what I love to watch lots of times on wrestling. It is so integrated with, the high level, and everybody thinks that's all BJJ. It's not. It's a lot of that's that British catch wrestling and stuff like that Thatcher does, and there's some,
And Eichner and Bartel do too.
oh yeah, that style has a lot of great, cool submissions and grapples and stuff like that too. And you mix all that in there, and you got Matt Riddle, who's just killing it.
Freakishly athletic, right?
Yeah,
And is a legitimate fighter. Now, Riddle winds up not on the apron when Thatcher needs a tag, which turns into angst. And there's been an undercurrent the whole time that Thatcher doesn't like.
Wasn't really as cool with all this stuff as the Broserweight was.
He's not a reindeer game guy.
No.
And so he eventually walks off and leaves Riddle to get pummeled.
Well, Riddle popped it through. I can't remember. I think it was Bartel. No, it was Eichner. I think threw Eichner into him.
Mm-hmm.
Monkey flipped him into Thatcher,
right.
and hit Thatcher, and then Thatcher walked off on him.
Right. And so we wind up with Riddle going 2-on-1 for a little while and eventually losing to the numbers game.
With a great sequence. I mean,
Perfect, right.
they were so good.
He's
so smooth when he links moves. He thinks in groups, and that's something that a lot of wrestlers I don't like. It's so stilted. This move, this move, this move, this move. I got to see several matches this week though with guys who knew and understood that it looks a lot cooler when you're linking, when you're going this to this to this to this to this.
Correct.
Like you hit the the GTS, and then he hits the next thing. It's just
one thing should lead to another.
Yeah, it's not about hitting
it's
him
a
one
puzzle.
time.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
In a real fight, you don't stop hitting him. You keep hitting him with other stuff,
Right. Okay, and so Thatcher gets backstage and just basically says what we just said. That he's not about all that. And a fight breaks out backstage, and then we'll get to that more later. Indy Hartwell versus Tegan Knox. I was kind of impressed by this. I haven't liked Tegan up to this point.
Mm-mm.
Hartwell looked very good in her last match, and then she looked good again here, and she was kind of on top most of the time until Tegan hits the shiniest wizard. and a flash win. So I liked it, and I see a lot of potential in Hartwell and in and this is the first time I felt what everybody's told me is there with Knox.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. Tony Nese versus Jake Atlas. Quick,
love this match.
Quick, but very good. You get the Rainbow DDT, which is so stupid, but I just love it.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's like
it's ridiculous.
Yes.
It's silly.
Correct, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
And so he gets the win there, and I really love this tournament. Cameron Grimes versus Finn Balor. We get a good match. There was some fan interference at the end with Damian Priest, which winds up causing Cameron to go over.
Yeah, hits him with the nightstick to the knee, reveals that he is the guy who, looking to make his name off Finn Balor. Which, you putting two guys over. Finn's putting in, he put Cameron Grimes over, and he's putting Damian Priest over.
Damian Priest had the dope Slash shirt on.
Dude, did you see that? I was going to mention that. That was so sick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome, right? And like you said, Cameron could use a win.
Yeah, he could.
He could use a win against somebody that's a big name. He looked formidable while fighting Finn. When Finn got the tables turned, Damian came in and interfered. Cameron got the win. Damian continues. Damian needs a rivalry. He needs to be in something prominent. He needs to show that he's formidable. Finn's going to do that for him.
Yes.
Win or lose.
Again, you get one of these, they've been doing this a lot more. Heel versus heel.
Oh,
all three guys in this match were heels.
Right. And Priest was the attacker 2 weeks ago, which he tells us. Now Gallagher versus Swerve Scott. Tony Nese attacks Scott outside.
Well, after Swerve said in the promo, if I went through this whole tournament and didn't win a single match, I think I might retire from wrestling. And Nese ain't won a single match, and Gallagher hadn't won a match yet. So,
yes, which sets up the attack.
Yes,
and Scott gets a little bit of a back and forth, but not much. He loses to Gallagher fairly quickly. I kind of was a little irritated in that I wanted to watch this.
Oh, I did too, because Swerve is so great and Gallagher's so fun to watch.
But I do like where we're going here, and I think that Gallagher needed to look dastardly. He did. Nese is kind of new to the dastardly actions as well.
Yeah.
In a way. I mean, he kind of spins in and out of being a heel and whatever.
Yeah.
So this was good setup. And I do think that when tournament ends, we get Nese and Scott. And I think that's a good series of matches for Scott to look really good in, elevating him.
Well, that's what tournaments do. They give you the guys that don't win it. It gives you a way of setting up new rivalries coming out of it.
Correct. We're taking a tournament and we're going to get a champion, but we're also going to get 4 or 5 things to watch later.
Because that's the point. See, and this is my point on all this stuff. The point of a belt is to help you tell stories of people trying to get the belt or trying to hold the belt. The point of the tournament is not who wins the tournament in a fixed pro wrestling match. The point is how do we get stories out of this? And the one story in the middle is great, but you're selling yourself short if you don't use all this other material that you come out of it with, The
easy story to tell is the belt.
Yes.
That's what Hunter said one time about Kurt Angle was, you're good if you get the belt and you have good rivalries. You're great when you don't need the belt.
Yeah,
have great rivalries.
That was like Taker.
Yeah.
Taker didn't need a belt.
Taker was the belt.
Yeah.
Regardless
beating
of
Taker
was the champ.
yeah.
Right. Caden Carter versus Aliyah. They wrestled really well together. Aliyah winds up trying to show off for Robert Scott's brand, winds up losing in a deathlock submission rolling reverse figure 4 thingy. Did you see that?
Yes, that was slick, wasn't it?
Yeah. This was really good too. Then we get Riddle versus Thatcher.
Wait. We skipped though. We didn't talk about the Killer Cross. Scarlet
I'm
Bordeaux.
saving that.
Oh, you save it. All right. We'll go to that. We'll save that later.
I'm saving that. I actually have I'm going to get to all the commentary stuff in a second. I'm going to go through all that differently. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that.
No, that's cool.
Riddle versus Thatcher. Amazing match.
Dude, again, this is like what I love to watch. The transition work, the grappling work.
Might have been match of the week.
For me, oh yeah, the flow. The only other competition was another match that was very similar from SmackDown that we just watched.
Yeah, correct.
You know,
and I think this was better.
I liked it better. One of the ones that just made me mark out was when Riddle hit the feint, made him pull up, and then when he dropped his hand back, he came over the top of the high kick.
Yeah.
You know, it was so you can't. A lot of these guys can throw these fly kicks and stuff like that because it's a body move. That kind of little precision move like that, you can't do that unless you've done it. You know, him, Aleister Black, guys who've thrown kicks for years like that can do it.
Right. Right now, Riddle winds up in a submission hold, but able
into a knee lock. He turns back.
Into a roll up.
Yes.
He winds up sitting down on a knee lock, injuring himself further, but getting the pin, which enables Thatcher to then jump him after the bell, which means we're not done with this.
No, and both guys look strong.
Which is great. Now going through segments, okay? We wind up with an Undisputed Era thing where they kind of copy the IC, which was the Inner Circle. To me, it was a little bit of a shot. Now, what they did manage to do, though, was tell us that Roddy is going to be the first opponent for Dexter Loomis.
Ooh, I
did like that. Which is good, right?
Dexter Loomis should have shown up, like, in there, never said anything.
Turned it into a Partridge Family and been in the middle.
Just in the middle.
Hollywood Square.
And him just staring. You should never have said anything. He just should have been staring. Or lurking behind one of them.
Yeah. Now, the End is Near segment song with Killer.
Oh, dude.
What are they calling him?
Karrion Kross.
Karrion Kross.
Scarlet Widow. I don't know what they're calling Scarlet Widow.
Yeah. I loved it.
Dude, he went through everybody on the roster.
Yes.
Telling the story. I'm not that. I ain't this.
Yes.
I'm not your dream. You know?
Yes. He's great.
Dude,
he's great, and he's already ready for prime time. You don't have to do anything with him. And once he gets in the ring, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
If you didn't see him in Impact or other things, dude, he's the goods. He's the goods. It'll be okay. Then we have Gargano eats dinner on what looks to be a very poorly prepared meal of either runny eggs or mac and cheese.
Yeah, it was disgusting looking.
Yeah, did not look good.
But the segment itself was good.
Yes, and he has set his sights on Keith Lee. And she has set her sights on Mia Yim, and I did not know that Keith Lee and Mia Yim were a couple.
I didn't either.
Which is kind of neat that we're getting a little couples warfare here.
Yes.
And Mia Yim doesn't do it for me.
No. But I want her to.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yes.
Because the other kid can go. And Yim is willing.
Yeah.
So something's going to happen.
Candice LeRae, again, that's another one. If you've never seen her wrestle, because they don't let her wrestle very much over here, if you've never seen her wrestle very much, she is phenomenal.
And Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano.
That's
you
fun
have
stories.
The Hulk versus Wolverine.
Yes.
In its own thing, you know what I mean? And it's Keith Lee just totally reminds me of the Hulk for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Johnny tries to remind you of Wolverine. It was not that big. But
Wolverine is short. Wolverine is like 5'1", 5'2", or 5'4", maybe at the
in the books.
Yes, Wolverine. That's the joke.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's short. I think he's not like I'm talking like 5'4" I think maybe.
Hugh Jackman ruined that.
Yeah, he's not tall in the comic book especially.
Why would Hugh Jackman ruin that?
Because he couldn't saw his knees off. I don't think for the part. They could have shrunk him like they did the Hobbits.
They should have.
They should have shrunk him.
But okay, so and let's get into in the ring, Keith Lee and Johnny will be great.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to get to see David Goliath, but David is mean.
Yes, I like and that's the thing he did with Dijakovic too. Yes. It was,
And then you get an announcement by, first you get Hunter and Sean.
I loved that little segment for some reason. They're just...
Dude, because Road Dogg
pops up.
First of all, what was he even doing down there?
What was he doing?
Second of all, when he says, you were at the first in your house too, Hunter. You were wrestling the Godwin guy, right? Then, you realize...
Wolverine is 5'3". I knew it.
Wow. There
Hugh
you
Jackman
go.
is 6'3".
That's terrible. What bad casting. That'll never work in the movies.
Yes.
But, and you realize, oh, that's right. The first one... Hunter was actually paying the price. The first In Your House, Hunter was paying the price for the curtain call.
Yes.
That was when
Henry
basically Vince called Hunter into the office. Shawn couldn't get in trouble. He was the champ.
This was after, for those of you who don't know, when Diesel and Razor Ramon left the company to go to WCW at Madison Square Garden. They came out, broke kayfabe, and were buddy and hugged each other in the ring afterwards, and were all cool with each other. And then, like Kevin said, I'll let him keep going, but Shawn couldn't eat it because Shawn was your champ. So Triple H was in the doghouse.
So somebody winds up having to be the person who pays the penance for having allowed everyone to know that wrestling is fake for the very first time.
Because nobody knew it up till then.
Nobody had a clue. And so that winds up being Hunter. And Hunter was told by Vince, you're going to have to pay for this. And Hunter says, okay, but now, I understand Hunter could leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could go down south with his buddies. And he says, okay, now if I stay and I do this, is it over? He says, as soon as you're done with this program, it's over. So he goes into pig slot matches with the Godwins, who are Hillbilly Jim style characters.
Yes.
And so
it's like Braun Strowman.
with pig slot.
With pig slot.
But so he winds
More
up
pig slot.
And so then, of course, they keep bringing that up, and Hunter doesn't want to talk about it. And then they said, you know, we got 2 words for you in your house, and if you don't like that, we got 2 words for you. And Road Dogg blurts out, pig crap. You had your face in pig crap, right? That's what it was great. The whole segment was great. And
I love how they buried their own, better than that 25th anniversary catastrophe from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. But now, one reason why I saved all of this was that these segments is that I wanted to talk about this show. I've heard people say that NXT's been hurt the most by this, whatever. And I'm like, they're crazy.
What are you talking about?
The fact that there's no fans there and no light around the ring is showcasing the wrestling.
Yes.
And they are utilizing that by putting out banger matches. You don't see anybody playing to the crowd that's not there like you do on every other show.
Ridiculous.
You don't see... And here we go. Now look what you have. You were talking about non-belt involved. You didn't. I didn't tell you we were going to do this. Non-belt involved things that happen. Mia versus Candice is coming up. Rowdy versus Loomis is coming up. Finn versus Damian Priest coming up. Thatcher versus Riddle coming up. Rhea Ripley versus Io coming up. Nice versus Swerve coming up. Now, even though some of these will set up a match, these were all rivalries we set up today without a single match being on the line, and none of them are immediate.
Yeah.
Without a single belt being on the line, and not a single immediate title match after you win.
No, yeah. Because it's about storytelling.
It is, and they managed to do this at the top, in the middle, and the bottom of your show.
Mm-hmm.
You have a thing like Alea. She's nobody in this company, and we're interested in her because they've allowed us to be interested in her. There's a point to what she's doing. Carter goes over her because this is something you're curious about with Alea. Suddenly you care about Carter. It's the way it should be done, and they do it right. People just sleep on this show. It's crazy.
Well, a lot of people will mistake Flash and Pyro for substance.
A lot of people don't really like wrestling.
No.
A lot of people and that's what Bischoff talks about, and it is something that I've seen AEW lean into with great success, and I'm not being critical of it because I enjoy the shows as well, but a lot of what you get there isn't wrestling.
Tell me about it, Jim Cornette.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that...
No, I agree.
That there's both... When Bischoff says a buffet is necessary.
Yes.
Right? And you watched these Nitros and they gave you all kinds of different things.
Oh, dude, you got everything.
There was a reason there was popularity there.
Yeah.
WWE didn't have, when they had the best wrestler in the world as the lead, that wasn't when they took over Nitro. It was after Shawn left and you had the biggest personalities in the world. That's when you take over.
You get more eyes with that.
Right. You know what I mean? what NXT does is a niche, but also it is storytelling.
But it's my niche. I'm happy with it.
And it's done in a ring.
Yeah.
Mostly, you know what I mean? So anyway.
Well, and you had at least 2 matches tonight that were more along the lines of simulated combat than fantastical,
Right. And it wasn't chairs, and it wasn't, but they do that too. But
they do it too, and
they
do
don't
it
go there as often.
spectacularly.
They don't go there as often.
So when you see it,
it matters.
It hits.
Right,
when you see a cartwheel DDT.
But speaking of
Flash and Pyro.
Are you ready? SmackDown comes up with The Miz and John Morrison, and Otis is the guest star. Cole and Corey are on commentary. Otis broke a chair by sitting in it.
Fat guy in little chair.
Otis mentioning that he did have a learning disability early on was endearing to me. Mm-hmm. Morrison and Miz leaning into that
was perfect because they're villains.
People. Right.
And
we set up a tag match for later here.
And you get to see Otis test driving his Chris Farley.
He is doing Chris Farley, and you mentioned that, and I had not seen it due to ignorance, and he is absolutely doing that. I don't know why big men in pro wrestling seem to want to pelvic thrust all the time.
I know. It's strange, isn't it?
It bothers me.
It worries me. It bothers me when anybody pelvic thrusts all the time.
Right. There's no reason for that.
No.
If you're at home and you're thinking about going into employment, don't pelvic thrust all the time.
No, don't.
They're gonna fire you.
Especially don't punctuate your sentences with it.
Oh my God, he does. Okay. Anyway, but it's pro wrestling, so it's okay.
And I loved Miz and Morrison hitting him. And him just being, you're very true. That's very true there.
Yeah.
Right. And when he said to Morrison, and Morrison said something like, do you own a shirt? I wanted to own a shirt or something like that, but it was something similar to it. He's like,
are you pregnant?
Are you pregnant? It's like, when you got it, flaunt it. And it's like, that's totally what Morrison's, used to say.
Right. And it was almost like he was saying, us.
Yeah.
Me and you, John. We got it. We flaunt it. Right. Elias versus Baron Corbin starts the tourney off for the Intercontinental title. We also have Shinsuke versus AJ, Baron versus Drew Gulak, and Hardy versus Sheamus coming up as this tourney progresses. And Elias Corbin was a good little match.
Yeah, it was. This whole tournament could be spectacular. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which, if you want to go watch one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time,
don't watch the WWE ones.
No, go back and watch those two go at it in New Japan. And you talk, when you were talking about earlier, like the greatest, it will not be the great. That is one of the great wrestling matches.
You've heard of ladder matches, correct?
Yes.
Money in the Bank ladder matches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You've heard of First Blood matches.
I've heard of those.
This Shinsuke versus AJ match is actually going to be a first one to ring the bells.
Oh, ring the chimes, as it were.
A ring the chimes match.
Yes.
Is what it's going to be.
Yes. You're going to have cups with lights on them, so you can tell when you get lit up.
Dude, I was at that WrestleMania, and like I've told you before, I thought this is going to be the greatest thing ever because they're coming to the ring, and the show was off to a great start. And they're wrestling, and I'm like, okay, this is going to get good because they've got to give them 25, 30 minutes, right? And then they just kick each other in the dingle.
I think truly.
And you heard 80,000 people go, huh?
I just think truly Vince McMahon just has to spit on stuff sometimes. Ugh. I think he's heard.
I don't know about all that, but that was crazy.
That was dumb, dude. There's no way on purpose you put them in the ring and have them do that unless you just want to spite.
And then you start making dingling kicks both of their finishers for like a year.
Oh, God.
Okay, but Corbin winds up losing. He breaks the guitar, and Elias does something which you don't see a lot. He goes for the knee strike, and then when Corbin has been hurt with the knee strike, he puts him in a roll-up.
Perfect. It was perfectly done. Uh-huh. Again, it's almost like people were listening to me. I doubt nobody cares what I say.
Right.
But, that's another non-finisher finish.
Right.
And we'll get another one later tonight.
And it made sense. Corbin had been losing. I mean, Corbin was winning.
Yes.
He was doing better. Your opponent is on the ground hurt. You give him some time to get himself together. He hits you with a knee strike. He rolls you up quickly.
Mm-hmm.
it's what would be effective in a scenario
Yes.
like that. Right.
And it surprised me too because you got Baron Corbin facing Drew next week, so I thought he was going to get a win to kind of set that up being more dangerous.
Yes.
But true to form, they buried.
Yeah. Otis winds up looking for a partner as Sheamus, which was a big no. Surprisingly,
because
enough.
I'm surprised because Sheamus has been so endearing and loving and caring, and passionate and empathetic. Oh wait, no, he hasn't. He's been making fun of people, kicking people, and threatening Michael Cole.
Right. And so then we're going to wind up with him going to find Braun at some point and asking
Because
him.
Mandy gave him an idea. She's the brains of that operation.
Absolutely.
That's a dangerous thought.
Another hacker segment. The truth will be heard, and so now we know it is R-Truth who is the hacker.
I'm totally endorsing this theory, and I think it's the best thing ever if R-Truth turns out to be a computer whiz.
And gets confused when he sees Pretty Ricky.
Yes.
Right.
I think it should be like...
Little Jimmy
is
the hacker.
How cool would it be? And this is just total fantasy booking. This will never happen. But I think it would be hilarious if Truth really does turns out to have been Kaiser Sozeing us for his entire career. R-Truth is like the most diabolical, brilliant mastermind in all of wrestling.
Correct. That's how it has to end.
Oh.
Dana Brooke versus Naomi, and Dana Brooke just sits on her and beats her after a little bit of a back and forth.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm okay with it, I guess.
It was a roll up. It was, like I said,
those things happen.
Yeah. Again, no finisher.
Yes.
Again, that's crazy though. I've just been counting that in my head. That's
no finisher.
A lot of no finisher matches.
Right.
They
had the Becky
across
thingy,
the whole thing.
They had the Becky thingy, which is we talked about earlier, so we won't get into that. Charlotte comes out. It says that they've done the numbers and she equals ratings, so now every show wants her on it. Fox has invited her in this new thing they call
Invitational, Superstar Invitation.
I thought they called it sort of wild card rule.
I thought that was earlier.
Sort of wild card rule.
Sort of wild card rule.
Right.
That's a technical definition.
Yes. So they bring her in, and Bayley and Sasha come out, and the important part here is that we're pushing. At some point, Sasha goes and stabs Bayley in the back, which since Bayley's a heel doesn't necessarily mean
it's not a
she's
stab
bad.
in the back. And Charlotte does a great job of putting that wedge in there.
You're a 6-time champ. You're the blueprint. You're the standard. All of my big moments were with you, not with Bayley. Why are you second fiddle? And you like this promo.
I did. I thought it was really good. And I'm not always a Charlotte, but when you let her, for some reason, WWE, and I'm glad they're really, even though she's always a heel, and they try to babyface her sometimes, and it's like that is not
Who she is
as a character. In real life, she's probably a wonderful human being, but her character just needs to be that. And when she does it, it's really she's dissected it.
If you're born perfect, it is very hard for you to come off as anything other than arrogant.
Yes.
John Morrison, he's probably a good guy.
Yeah.
He was born perfect.
Uh-huh.
In wrestling terms, that means he's a heel.
Yeah.
Charlotte was kind of born perfect. So in wrestling terms, she should probably be.
Randy Orton
was born perfect. And in two of those cases, too, you're second generation.
Yeah.
So you have that aristocracy to you a little bit anyway, if that makes sense. But, I liked it, too. Promo by the Forgotten Sons we wound up getting with.
I liked that, too.
I did, too. It's really hard to make a military group heelish.
Yes.
And they've managed to try to find a way to do that.
Well, they went the biker route, which is actually, that's American mythology right there. I mean, if you look at the origins of the American outlaw biker community, a lot of that was guys coming out of the military after World War II, then into Korea, and then into, Vietnam. And they were looking for that same camaraderie that they couldn't find in the normal culture, and nobody understood them, and they weren't getting treated right when they came back. More the Vietnam and Korean War era. Yeah. So they're definitely there's an archetype there that they're really tapping into that I think is cool.
Yeah, and it's also which is funny because nowadays biker gangs, bikes cost a lot of money now.
Yes.
So usually those people are not ruffians.
No, there's not. There's a big difference between biker clubs and outlaw biker clubs. You know,
Right.
Lots of those bikes are not come by in the most legal
terms
of means.
Right. Miz and Morrison and Renee get to talking, and they just do the same thing they were doing before. So let's move on to something great. Gulak versus Daniel Bryan.
What a match!
Great match.
Such great match. Storytelling. The
Coin toss for match of the week.
Oh, dude, it's right there with Thatcher and Riddle, and because they both really hit my sweet spot of some of the best grappling you'll see in Daniel Bryan. I think he has gotten better with his grappling. I think he looks better. He's smoother. And I think it helps he's got somebody who can go with him. Nobody else can really. He can't hit those transitions because the guy doesn't know what to do next with it. He doesn't know how to reverse it, so then he can reverse the reversal.
Correct.
You got to have somebody who knows the moves well enough to do.
Or it can't work.
No, you can't go 4 moves deep.
Right.
Those dudes know when you're in this position, the obvious move to get out of this position and to move to another position. It's like when he went from the arm bar and he flipped him over in the omoplata with the leg, almost like setting up the yes lock, and then he went for the, modified like crucifix almost on him and stuff. Like it was just smooth. One move.
Right. And he winds up getting the
heel hook.
The heel hook for the win, which is again not his finish.
Not his finisher, and he did it right. He got for the finish part. Now, when they did the roll, he let it go, which what I'm thinking about now is the safe move when you're rolling around there, so you don't actually torque his knee.
Right.
But when he cinched it in, he did it right. He got his arm there, and it was a good heel hook. It looked good.
Right. And Daniel Bryan gets a post-match interview where he says, I had to when I went away with the head problems, I was the champ. I had to relinquish the belt. I've never had another shot at that belt.
Mm-hmm.
I want that belt to be the wrestling belt in this company, and I want the best wrestler in the world to be that, and the best wrestler in the world is me. Nothing he said was not true.
Mm-mm.
I hope he's right. I hope
Yes.
he wins this belt. I hope we get Daniel Bryan in these style matches on every Friday night for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
I mean, it just that's everything to me.
I think that's the best you can. And you don't have, and again, you're not, again, you're giving a buffet.
Right.
I'm going to get the other flashy match, but if I get that to anchor my show, that's a good.
Dude, I got Otis around.
Yes.
Okay, I got Otis around.
Yes.
I got Braun Strowman around. Okay, so
let's. Are we going to talk about the Caterpillar?
we're getting there soon. Okay,
Yes.
let's move on. Okay, Sonya's promo
Was money.
Yes, she went from "I'm here to ruin your life" to "I'm wildly obsessed with you" in a matter of seconds as she's talking, and it was wonderful and it was scary, and she is shining.
Yes, and I thought they did it was subtle. It's not real subtle, but it started out with the wide shot, and as more intense she got,
They panned in.
like they brought it to her, so it made it. It's subtle little technique, but drew you in and made her seem more.
You know what else made her seem formidable?
What's that?
Dolph Ziggler said nothing.
Yes, I almost thought this was almost kind of a throwback because he was cut the frame.
Mm-hmm.
She's the center shot. Mm-hmm. He's cut out of the frame, and
Right.
when she even pointed out I'm even cut. I'm blurred out of the freaking entrance when we come in.
Right.
That's
right. But I feel like Dolph being there, Dolph giving that arrogant nod to everything she said.
Mm-hmm.
When she put her hand on his chest and was like, I got the muscle here, and he's agreeing with it all. I felt like it was perfect.
Yes. And I think it's funny, too, because you got an interesting dynamic here because you do not. She's openly,
Yes.
she's openly homosexual.
Right.
You don't have the sexual component. You don't
Which
have
is great.
I love it. I
You
love
don't
that
have
they're
to worry about at
professionals.
some point they're going to be dating.
Thank God.
They can just be coworkers.
They can be a team of effective badasses.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
I do. I'd like that in there too as well. I'm glad you mentioned that. Miz Morrison versus Otis and Braun, and
John, let's
John. Let's focus on John Morrison. He
because
was
he's
great.
a superstar.
And Otis was. He sold for Otis well. He's laying on the ground. Otis invites Braun into the ring to do the double caterpillar.
which
Braun
looks
is
like Braun's
not-
Caterpillar got hit with Raid.
Braun is too long and refrigerator-ish to do a Caterpillar.
He has no flexibility in his lower back. You can see it.
Right.
Many things Otis
It's almost
is,
like he was born with a back brace.
Yeah, many things
Or a
Otis is,
weightlifting belt.
but he's a former wrestler. Those dudes have to do all sorts of
And
that
he's
dude can probably
spherical.
drop into a split.
And he's spherical.
Yeah. So he kind of automatically
He's able to do that easily.
Yes.
Right.
But poor Braun. But
Yes.
you got to give
He
him
fell
credit.
twice. He
You got
tried
to give
it.
him credit. He went out there and he did a spot that he had to know was not going to flatter him.
Yes. And he did it. He did do it. And then we wind up with him chasing Morrison. And Morrison was like, no way, and jumps out of the way.
Does a little leap, just casually leaps that barricade like if I tried to do that, I would cripple myself.
Right. Then he runs over Miz, throws Miz into the ring. We wind up with Morrison saving the Miz and doing one of the more spectacular springboard kicks.
Yeah, he calls it, Cody calls it beautiful disaster. What did he call it? I can't remember what Morrison calls it anymore.
Better than that?
Way better.
But
2 stars better. Because he
anyway.
hit Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman is more than halfway across the ring when he bounces off that second rope, feet first, and his foot goes from that second rope to Braun Strowman 6'6", 6'7", however tall he is,
Yeah.
and hits him square in the face.
Right.
All the way across the ring.
Then as he goes to try to finish Braun is able to he looks
it.
like he's going to do some form of a DDT,
Uh-huh.
and Braun puts him into a power slam for the pin, but really it was just Morrison rotating his body in
Yes.
that way. And what we talked about too was how, we watch Morrison every week. He wrestled the Luchadors last week, made them look like $1 million. He wrestled Otis, and he sold for Otis. Every time Otis touched him, he fell.
Yes.
Without having to jump backwards, he fell backwards 4 feet.
Yes.
With Braun, even more so.
Yes.
And he's just perfect as a wrestler. And yet, he loses. Mandy comes out, and we get the fake cash in, and we are done with the wrestling week. What did you think of it all?
I think that show had some highs and middle points. I didn't really see any low terrible points. I wasn't really disturbed.
Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it,
Right.
But it had my, top almost tied for top match of the week with that other match in it.
Absolutely.
And it had some great promos. I'm loving Sonya Deville.
Right.
There's a lot of things on here to like.
Next week, we get Charlotte.
Didn't have any of The Fiend or Bray Wyatt, and it's still a great show.
Absolutely. And next week, we get Charlotte and Bayley.
Great
We get
match.
Shinsuke and AJ in a Chimes match.
Please, God, let them wrestle.
And we get Jeff
Mm-hmm.
and Sheamus. And then we're going to get the Dolph Mandy thing.
Yeah. Do you think that Jeff and Sheamus are going to put on a good match?
I almost think that there's going to be some form of shenanigans because this feels bigger than a Friday night.
Friday night, yeah.
Like maybe that's the most important non-title match at the next pay-per-view. You know what I mean? I see somebody going over. My guess would be, I have no clue because the winner's got to face Shinsuke or AJ, so everybody but Jeff is a heel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm loving all these heel versus heel matchups, dude.
It's odd for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for us, we had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the extended discussion. And Go Home Heat production here, copyright 2020 for Justin and KP. Go home.